Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one I'm going to be taking a look at the best cards for GLC for the set Shrouded Fable. So basically in this video I'll be ranking each type and the new trainers. The ranking is of course a personal opinion however, and the main point of the video is always just to showcase the best new cards for each type. So in last place we have fire types, which sadly are not very impressive. However, I will give a very honourable mention to this Houndoom, just because the art rare is, in my opinion, stunning. The attack snarl is okay. It's nothing great, it's nothing too special, but it is a fun card and the art rare is amazing. Like the artwork for Iron Moth as well is very nice, despite the card just not being very good. And that is a bit of a shame. And it's also a bit of a trend for the set, funny enough. There is plenty of great art rares and just artwork in general, but sadly the cards are a wee bit subpar. It's a bit of a shame. But yeah. In 10th place, though, we have colorless types, and I think these are marginally better than fire types. Not because these cards are particularly impressive in GLC, but if you were just starting out to play GLC, then some of these cards are nice introductions to the game, basically. Things like Persian, if that happens to be your favorite Pokemon, then the art rare is amazing. It's great. But, these cards just aren't anything special, but they do make nice entry points to the format. So I do like that about them. And of course, the artwork is amazing. So yeah, 10th place, we have colors. Then we actually get to some good stuff, and we have a new Copperaja and a new Kufont. This Copperaja is actually pretty interesting, has the ability Gargantuan Body, which will prevent your opponent from playing any stadium cards, provided it's in the active spot, which is very annoying. So if you have a stadium that you're relying on in your metal deck, maybe it's like Mount Coronet or something, then this Copperaja could be quite annoying to deal with. Also, Nose Lariat doing 130, and you may do 100 more, so 230. However, if you do during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack, well, that's still a really good trade off, right? Because if you remove one of your opponent's threats, i.e., Totara is always the example that I go to, but a very, very big Pokemon, e.g., Wailord or something, you remove a very big tanky threat, and then your opponent can't really respond with it, then there's no real reason that you need to attack the following turn as well if you've just removed their next threat. So that's a nice appealing aspect. Plus, you might run into a switch anyway and reset the effect. So, 230 is just a lot of damage to be dealing with. Also got 200 HP, so it's a bit of a wall Pokemon. So yeah, definitely a very decent Copperaja, and the Kufont art rare is just the icing on the cake. So yeah, very cool for metal types. In 8th place, we have water types. Just one new card that I could single out here is Weavile with Hailclaw. Does 70 damage, you have to discard all NG, however you leave them paralyzed. Quite a nice effect, sets up 2 Echoes on a lot of stage 2 Pokemon, but mainly just here for the Paralysis effect. Like, that is extremely annoying and just forces your opponent to track down a switch. Is this card amazing? Absolutely not. But is it, very annoying to deal with? Then yeah, I could definitely see some decks finding a use for this. So yeah, very annoying water type Weavile, sorry. In 7th place, we have Dragon type, 7 new Fracture, which is pretty good, and a Haxorus, which can do a whopping 230. And also, Axe Down is quite annoying against colorless decks that are relying on special energy, i.e., Porygon, as well as one curing a Wailord, which is very cool. However, the main star of the show is this new Kyurem, just because Colress Experiment and the new Colress's Tenacity supporter are really strong. So this Kyurem is very favored for the Anti-Plasma ability, and then Triforce can sort of just like board wipe, I guess. But yeah, if you're playing against a Dragon deck, you're most likely not going to play a Colress, however, so to be honest, I'm just like not super sure how good Kyurem will be in the long run in GLC. However, if there's like a viable way to power up Trifrost, then that, in itself could be a devastating attack, potentially taking 3 prizes at once. But again, Anti-Plasma is only as good as how much are you relying on your opponent playing Colress effectively? It's kind of niche in standard, it's even more niche in GLC. So yeah, not super sure about this Kyurem, but still a very, very potent attack overall. Next up, though, is we have grass types. Plenty of cool options actually. Tapu Bulu doing 220 is a lot of damage to be dealing with. I know there's another Tapu Bulu from Battle Styles, but I would honestly say this one's a wee bit better in some situations. Also got a great art rare to boot as well. This Galvantula is kind of interesting, does 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon with an ability, and then Shocking Web does 50 damage. If it has any lightning energy attached to it, which is a bit awkward to fulfill, but it does do 80 more damage. So you can do a lot of damage to stuff with abilities, which is fun. And then this Decidueye is okay. I feel like the spread Decidueye from like Cosmic Eclipse is maybe a bit better, but still 170 is a lot of damage to be dealing for one grass energy. You do have to discard a basic grass energy from your hand, but you can use stuff like Energy Retrieval to chain it more effectively. So pretty good card overall, and maybe a nice addition to decks that are playing Birdkeeper Rowlet. So yeah, pretty cool. In fifth place, we do have Psychic types. Now, this Dusclops and Dusknoir seem absolutely devastating for, well, standard really. I don't think they're broken in GLC really, just because they care themselves and there's no like prize trade warping in that regard. Because yes, you can take prizes with these guys, but then your opponent's getting a prize as well, and everything is worth one prize in GLC anyway. So I don't think these guys will be super broken, but still very powerful. And we also have this new, what's this Pokemon called again? Cresselia. Cresselia, that's the one. Yeah, Cresselia. Cresselia with the attack Crescent Purge does 80 damage, and you may turn one of your face down prize cards face up. If you do, this attack does 80 more damage, but the prize card remains face up for the rest of the game. So there is like a finite amount of times you can do this, but every time you do it, you're dealing 160, which isn't that bad for damage output, and you are like slowly revealing your prize cards. So that's really cool. So yeah, don't think this Cresselia is at all terrible. Also has a anti-spread effect in its first attack. So yeah, pretty cool overall, but does have to compete with a very, very strong Cresselia, of course. But yeah, still a pretty good card overall. Next up, those we have Dark types, which I think narrowly beat out Psychic in this set. This new Crobat seems decent. It's not going to be used for its ability that often, just because you only have one Janine Secret Technique in the deck. But still a pretty good attack with Poison Fang. This Yveltal doing spread damage is also quite nice. Could combo nicely with the Wheezing. Is it? Yeah, it's Wheezing from 151 that does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So yeah, Wheezing Yveltal could be quite a fun spread combo. And also this Pachurant is just here for those dark decks. So many dark Pokemon inflict poison, so Pachurant just naturally makes a lot of sense for those decks. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Pachurant and Yveltal. Crobat just seems a wee bit more niche, but again, could be useful and could be pretty strong. Next up, though, is we do have fighting types, and we'll get the Krogunk out of the way because it's the less impressive of the two. But 90 damage, and if your opponent's active as an evolution, you do 180 instead, which is pretty violent, actually, against a lot of evolution decks. Most Stage 2 Pokemon don't have more than 180 HP, if they're lucky. So yeah, getting 1-hit KO on all of those is pretty strong, and 2-hit KOing any basics as well. So yeah, Krogunk could be something worth keeping an eye on. We do also have Bloodbird Ursalona, however, with the amazing ability Rule of Thumb, which is some fighting energy acceleration if you want to get energy switch involved, but it's mainly just to accelerate energy to itself to then use Mud Bite, which does 100 damage and 13 more damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So definitely a 2-hit KO Pokemon. I could see this being very strong in like a Hitmonchan spread deck, like you're spreading loads of damage, and then you can just finish off any bigger tankier Pokemon, I guess, with this guy. So Bowman Ursaluna definitely seems to be a very, very strong card. And yeah, definitely one that I would like to play in GLC, to be honest. Next up, those, we have some new items and tools. Binding Mochi being my favorite of the three, to be honest. It just seems really fun to slap this on a Pokemon that you've managed to poison yourself. And there is several ways of doing that. Stuff like Brute Bonnet, as well as I believe it's Garbodor from Rebel Clash that poisons both active Pokemon, or it might just be your opponent's. Wait, no, Garbodor is your opponent's active, I think. But the Brute Bonnet is both active. So Binding Mochi will have some niche uses. Night Stretcher is also just quite nice universal Pokemon or energy recovery. And Power Hourglass could be useful, but I do worry that you'll get only a few uses out of it before your opponents will eventually KO your active Pokemon. So Power Hourglass still could be good, but again, it's a bit of a worry because it's relying on your opponents not caring whatever you're accelerating energy to with the Hourglass. So still, could be useful though. And lastly, we do have some new supporters. We've got Colossus Tenacity, seems like a very strong supporter, but if this rises in play, then, Kyurem goes down effectively. And I know Guzman fills a very similar role effectively. So, yeah, that is something to bear in mind when we look at Colossus Tenacity. But yeah, either way, a very strong card. 0-6 Plan just looks filthy. Like there's so many times I've been playing GLC where you have like massive hand sizes, either intentionally or unintentionally, and 0-6 Plan would just destroy that. So it's just something to keep in mind for control decks. Cassiopeia as well actually could be a niche control piece, I would say, but it's just mainly like for those decks like Arcanine and Gramble. I know you can't really build a whole GLC deck about them. I mean, you could if you really, really wanted to, but They are very, very niche, but they do exist. There's also like oh, what's it called? The loser, I think it is, also has similar attack if you have no cards in hand. So yeah, definitely some nice options there. Also have Janane's secret technique, which is just fantastic dark energy acceleration. You know, don't need me to tell you that really. This and Dark Patch is going to be great. So yeah, Dark decks definitely have something else to work with. Also Ghost Lord, I guess, not just relying on Beast Ring and stuff. So that's cool. So yeah, definitely a good set for dark types. And we also have, oh, gone the wrong way, some new stadiums. And the only stadium really we can talk about is Knight Academy, but it does say once during each player's turn that player may put a card from their hand on top of their deck, which happens to have a lot of synergy with some fire type Pokemon, like this Torkoal, Infernape, multiple Entei, and Typhlosion. There's also like a Chandelure as well, actually, that has synergy with. So yeah, plenty of choices, but mainly fire types, I would say. So if you want to use this stadium, then there's definitely a lot of options to use it with. But yeah, thank you for watching. Some overall thoughts on this. I think it's an alright set for GLC. Nothing too groundbreaking, but you know, very strong. Fighting and Dark feels very favored this set, but some fun options overall for multiple types, including Grass, I would say. Some new tech options from Ursalona and Spread from Yveltal Dusclops, so we'll have to see how that goes. But either way, thank you for watching. It's been Power, and yeah, thank you for watching.